Hello, I'm Lori LaRose. I have Acta Stamping on Facebook and Instagram and I guess YouTube as well. So I'm going to do a little YouTube for a couple cards, maybe three. Otherwise I'll do a separate card for one more, a separate video. But I had a class recently and a couple of the girls couldn't make it. So I'm going to do a little video. I'm going to be using different colors and not decorating, but just showing you and stepping you through the fancy folds. You'll want to probably hit pause a few times because I'm hoping that I do it fairly quickly for you. So we were working with the beautiful set, Country Bouquet, and it was available and is available depending on when you're watching it. This is February 2023. And it's a current set that's quite lovely at the time. Anyways, okie dokie, so let's begin. We'll start with this little guy. He's some sort of fancy fold. So you're going to need to have a piece of paper, kind of unusual because we're going to cut it 5.5 by the full 11. So I've got a piece of paper in Mango Melody and I'm going to step you through the folds here. So yeah, kind of an unusual one, full sheet this way. Usually we cut them in half one way or the other, and usually this is 4 1/4 and we make cards that way. This one is 5.5 by the full 11. Okay, and will be a little bit tricky because my camera is not as far up as it maybe could be, but anyways, okay, so we're going to start right here right off the bat, and we're going to cut score at 1 1/4. And I do have PDFs for this, so you can make sure you touch base with me. If you're seeing this somehow or another, you can be like, hey, how do I get that PDF? So 1 1/4, then keep pushing it through and hit 4. So it's not 4 from that score line, but it's just 4 period. Make sure you keep going with the scorer and don't bring that blade in. That is critical. And 6 3/4. All right. And that's about as simple as it gets. Not too difficult, I tell you. So 3 little folds, and then if you bring in your bone folder, we're going to fold this guy over. So when you're folding this over, just make sure that it's, I'm not sure where it's supposed to be meeting, but just make sure that it's even, which it's not there, as you can see. So just bring it up a little tiny bit. Always with a fold and with the next one of the cards, it's never the score line per se. It's just that we, that when you go to fold it, it just gets a little bit crookedy for no good reason, actually. And then this guy's going to come over this way. And I'll tell you, this one is not wanting to work with me. So in reality, this meets up just nice and even, which is lovely. This one here is making me cross. Hold on a second. Things always make me, I always pretend. Anyways, bring this over here. So just match it up and then just put it into shape here. Okay. That wants to be so fighting. All right, and then it actually comes this way, so hopefully it remains in good stead. Okay. So this guy goes this way, this guy goes this way, and this guy's coming this way. Okay. And then I brought in a few different pieces of paper. It's celebration right now. And so I'm working with, it's called, not Dainty Designs, the Dandy Designs. So you'll want 2 pieces of paper that are 2.5 by 5 1/4. And I'm putting one here. And I will just glue that in here. Not a big gluer on here, but that'll give you a second to get your folds going. Definitely, I was a long folder, so you probably had plenty of time to do yours as well, but you won't be probably cutting fast enough. But anyways, okay, now I've glued that down, but in truth, actually, if you wanted to do a little tiny bit of fancy stamping at all, you might want to stamp before you got going. This could have some nice little words on here. Basically, this is where you're going to write to your friend, love yourself. And then I'm going to put this little guy in here. So another 2.5. So 1 DSP. I did white paper. You could put DSP here with just a little piece of white to put in there when you're doing it. At this point now, I'm just watching that my edges are good, but I'm just watching that my lines are decent as well as I come along here. Glue that guy in there. This big guy is going to go in here. And this one is 4 by 5 1/4. So this fits in a regular envelope. And I love these flowers. I'm going to decorate this, I think, 96% positive, that I'm going to bring in my little friends from, do I have one handy? No. My little friends from Playing in the Rain. I really love this little guy here. Love him. All right, and then, so now it's going to look like that. And then I just need one more little strip here. This is a 1 1/4, right? That's what we scored it at. I'm actually bringing in a matching one for this, largely because this pack of paper didn't have a whole lot of stuff to go with my mango, essentially. So I thought, well, I think it'll be nice to have it. Same. And then you get to just decorate, which is super fun. So that's how simple that guy is. So you can put, oh, I should have actually shown this. So I don't have any little cutout for this, but I'll go from this to showing how I decorated the heart one. So I used the paper from the Country Bouquet suite, and I stamped on I think this is a 3 by 3 inch square. And then you can't hardly see this, but yes, there is a DSP there as well. Oh, and hint, when this is displayed, do add another. So I'll take that back. You do want 2 1-inch pieces because you want one here as well as here. Okay, so in here, I would add one more here. It just would make it look pretty. And whether I use this guy or I might even use this guy and just have those 2, and then it's just quite nice to display. Okay. All right, and then in here, I'm going to have a white circle with a saying of some sort. And then that is the card, and it looks very nice and sits like that. So it's quite pretty. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense for you. We'll go on to the next card. Next card, you're going to want to have a regular, although a little bit slightly different shape, but it's a half a piece of the full paper, and it's 4 1/4 by 11. You're going to score it at 5 1/2. So I'll bring this guy in here. So 5 1/2. And then it takes one extra little cut. We're going to bring in my blade, turn it around, and whether you measure it, a lot of cutters have a little 1-inch on the other side. This gives a lot of stability right here, so it's a good idea to cut it there. You're going to cut it, measure it, line it up at the 1-inch, and you're just going to cut it down to the score line. So at 5 1/2. And I don't know that you know or not, but hopefully you know that there's a little arrow usually on most cutters that shows where the blade is. And so that's, you know, that's where you want to stop. And then bring this guy back along to the 5 1/2. And you're just going to come up to the 1-inch mark, basically the cut line. And, ooh, my little cutter does not want to cut there. Doesn't want to cut on the score. That doesn't help. Anyways, it should quite nicely cut that, but I don't want it all torn up. So just cut along that score line, okay? All right. So now you have one little piece for doing something down the road. And the card. So again, bring this in and score it. You actually could have this card with the 1-inch piece on this side or on this side. So you can have it this way or the other. And this is all tatty. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. It's not very nice, but anyways, I'll get a little emery board and fix that up. So it can go this way, or in this case, because I brought in a piece of cardstock in papaya, I am going to do this because I have it. So I was going to show you a slightly different way than the other example, but now I'm not. All right. And then I brought in a piece of paper that I think geez, that's not good. It is 2 3/4, but I think it only needs to be about 2 1/2. So I'm going to glue that into there, and then I'm just going to layer this over top, and that way that'll be nice. So I'll go ahead and do that. And again, if you're going to do a little words on here, always a good idea to, paper has 2 sides, so it's never a bad idea to stamp first. That way, if you make a mistake, you can just easily flip it over. But since I'm just doing the bones for you in this, I will. Good gracious. This is why I don't glue live, because look at me go. Ay, 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 ay. Not sure why that's being kind of weird there, but anyways, okay. And with this guy, normally I just glue around the outside edges of my stuff, but this, when I'm working with a folder, sometimes it's important to be. Now this is 5 1/4. When I embossed this, it kind of shrunk it just a little tiny smidgen, so just measure up and make sure that it's okay. I needed to take just a hair off of my white to make that fit. And then this piece is 3 inches by 5 1/4. And this is again more of that dandy design paper. And I'm working with the Calypso here. I really like this piece. And so again, I'm going to bring this in here. And that is how easy that card is. So if I can find my actual example, where did it go? Here she be. So you could do lots of different stuff. And the card class, I just had the circles, sent out the circles to the girls for you to stamp a sentiment on there. And we added a bow. And that is that. Super simple, but really quite cool and quite effective.